morning, you guys. It's MJ from All to Love. How are you? I just realized it's Monday. I'm just gonna cover this. And not to be distracting to you guys. And I was like, what shall I share today? And I just thought Monday motivation. It's really not my style, but I'm like, come on guys, it's Monday. It's a new day. And oh, it's also new moon today, actually. And we are celebrating the Chinese New Year. And there is something about a meeting of like East and West and this sort of up level of earthly manifestation, abundance, and prosperity. And the road just kind of continues. We continue to walk the path. We continue to like walk the journey. And each step we take, we can see more of what's unfolding for us in a directional sense, and also energetically. I want to put it out there that the last few days have been pretty heavy, not just for me, but for some of like Team Love, as well as far as like big energy waves moving through the collective. And this is related to mass awakening. If you think about a big ripple effect and like a meteor or something like that dropping into the ocean, and then that meteor's ripple, and that's often the visions I would have throughout my life, is like this, one light bulb lit up can light up the whole room kind of thing, right? And so we have to acknowledge that enlightening, awakening process is permeating our field. And I'm very aware of the whole like it's darkest before it's dawn, and the fact that we've been in this intense cycle of completing karmic patterns, dissolving or uncreating or discreating certain soul contracts we have with people, which to me is actually like the same thing as dissolving karma or working through the karma. And how I feel in or observe karma is ultimately just us emotionally integrating our denied aspects, which were parts of ourselves that at some point on this human experience ride, we like disowned. We were like, I don't want to have to deal with that, or I don't want to have to look at that, or I don't want to have to honor that, I don't want to have to feel that either, because it's the uncomfortable, painful, dense stuff that typically we like want to run away from, or we try to escape. That's certainly my observation. And having kind of and even in religious text, it talks about like burning through the veils, and to me that is a very direct, visceral experience in the body of like feeling. And because like who can work that out? We all throw these words around like anxiety or depression or resentment, but unless we're really deducing it and working out for ourselves, it doesn't matter unless it's connected to the self, unless it's connected to the beingness and the presence that you are in integrity of your function, of your purpose, of your direction, right? So I'm feeling like in connection to the new moon energies, it's just this, we're still on the trajectory of the new paradigm. We're still moving in this direction, and yet with all of the different energies, there's still, I talked about this in yesterday's share, like there's still this sort of squeezing us through this energy belt to allow us to continue to open up to whatever it is. And I suspect that the part of the tipping point is that many of us have worked through enough like density to not be throwing out such specific like attachment to outcome, and at the same time staying in the purity of presence and staying in the purity of heart as well. Because let's be honest, like the heart is the altar. The heart is, to me anyway, where this idea of like the Christ is. But the Christ is the infinite. The Christ is the eternal, infinite intelligence that exists within us. And think, heart is that which sends energy to the entire body. We have the central nervous system and the sciatic nerve that is bringing the information from from the brain down through the nervous system, but the heart is really what's like radiating, transmitting that outward and putting that, projecting that outward. And yet it's working all in union. So it's not something I don't even think I mentioned specifically the chakra system. I think we are actually collectively rising above the, you could say, the rigidity of some teachings, because we could realize how we get blocked in knowledge. We get blocked in like, oh, I know all about the chakras. Oh, do you now? Like, ultimately, and like, how can we, and then that, in our old paradigm of idolatry, we easily give our power to people who proclaim to like know and have all the answers. So, and certainly I'm not a namer of names, but like, it's fairly relevant. And some of you might be aware of a woman named Doreen Virtue. And I'm sitting with it. I'm just like, wow, what's going on in the world? Because I'm full-grown adults basing their entire business empire on selling an ideology, a practice, a faith, and then just, well, it's obviously not been out of nowhere, but then having a vision and jumping over to the language of Christianity and Jesus Christ. And to me, I find it really interesting because it's all, again, it's all smoke and mirrors. It's all illusory external projections of self. So, okay, let's follow crystals and angels. Oh no, that's not right. Let's follow the Jesus Christ and the Word of God. And I'm like, yeah, but it's all just you, Doreen. Like, you, like, what's, I don't feel like, what's the difference between an angel that you might call Archangel Michael? What's the difference between that entity appearing and then another light-filled entity? That Archangel Michael or Raphael or whatever would have at some point been an apparition and presented you with grace and love, and then a year ago or whenever it was, the Jesus Christ. And I just, and I guess it's an aspect of an observation of just the continuation of how we idolize. And to me, it was always that, even breaking free from the acting industry and entertainment business, because there's just so much distortion and desperation and insecurity. And as an empath, you kind of just pick up on that. You go to auditions, I'm sorry, you feel the energy of a room in audition is. So that didn't really, last very long. But then you see the same weird, desperate idol worship and grasping for celebrity in spiritual circles now. Everyone, and people would probably like look at my shares and just be like, oh, there's another one. There's someone else trying to proclaim to be an expert of all things meditation and spiritual. And it's not, if anything, I'm just being like, I salute all of you. And then it's just more the authentic expression of the moment. And that fluctuates, that shifts, that changes. That's like somebody once leaving a comment and being like, if this is a heart share, like, why are you so sad? And I'm like, who? Like, I'm not. And that really triggers my old people-pleasing patterns, because as a people pleaser, it's like my job to serve and be happy and make people feel good. And that's how you start to outwork abusive and mentally and or emotionally abusive relationships, because what happens is that you then put yourself as like a servant to other, and then that other as the master. When you don't behave well as a servant, they make it known. And then as the empath, you're like, oh no, I wasn't the perfect person for them, or I wasn't sunshine, or I wasn't rainbows and happiness, and so I am a bad human. But there you can see that, like, but that's how I worked it out and wrote the book, was because I was like, wait a minute, like, and then you end up in these shitty toxic emotional patterns, and suddenly this mass wave of rising empaths, right? And rising empaths breaking free from covert or not so covert emotionally abusive relationships and situations, is for us to wake up to that people-pleasing tendency, because it feeds narcissistic behavior. Narcissism is really just, and any of us can exhibit those tendencies, but it really just means someone who's afraid to feel, who's afraid to own and heal and feel, because it breaks you down. That's what the 3D term for transformation is, just having a mental and emotional breakdown. That's what's happening to your beingness. And then you broke down, and then eventually you're like, okay, I'm not dead, so I might as well keep on going, and then you just keep on going. That's ultimately what a transformation is, right? But um a narcissist is like, no, 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 and they're more concerned about accessorizing their lives and making it look a certain way. And hence, when they find someone to fit a picture that they're trying to create, but then you're an authentic human expression and you don't want to be a slave, and you start to act out of accord to what their desire is, that's when the game playing and the manipulation really starts, right? I love how I've called this video, I just remembered, Monday Motivation. I could just say motivation for empaths healing from emotional and mental abuse. So there you have it, you guys. Happy Monday to you. Much love, heart, vibrashe across the niche, wherever you are in the world. Virtual hug. I don't want to get too like virtual